Hello everyone, welcome to the second video on creating time-enabled and dynamic map. Today we will go beyond making a series of static images and we will try to make a map which you can zoom, you can pan around, click to get more information, as well as has some play and pause buttons, as well as some time slider. So it will be a more dynamic map. And we also host it on GitHub so that anyone with internet can access this map. So let's see how we can do that. So to create an interactive web map and host it on GitHub, we will use first ArcMap for data previewing, Python for data cleaning, GitHub for hosting our data and code, Notepad++ for writing the code, JavaScript for interactivity, and HTML for building the web page. And for data cleaning, this is the Python code. We are using pandas to read a CSV file and GeoPandas to read a shape file. And we are simplifying the geometry of the geodata frame. And I will show you the benefit of this shortly. And then we are merging the shape file polygons with the attribute data, which is the population data. And we are exporting it as GeoJSON file, which we will host or upload to GitHub. If you remember last time we used this special join2.ssp file to create our time enabled or dynamic map, and this is way big than it needs to be. And the reason for this is because we made it in a tidy form and a lot of the polygons are repeated almost 70 times. But this data was obtained by joining the states polygon, which is around 10 MB, with this population data, which is around 30 KB. So if we just don't duplicate the polygons, then we will have data that is around 10.5 MB. And if we even simplify that, we will have even smaller file size. So let's try to do that. So let's open command prompt here and see if we have GeoPandas. It shows we have GeoPandas, so let's open Python and copy this code from the PowerPoint and right click, paste it. So it saved a file called simplified.ssp and a file called simplified.geojson. Let's see the size of those two files. So simplified.geojson is around 2 MB and simplified.ssp is around 688 KB. And if we compare these files with the original 700 something MB file, these two are not that different, right? Okay, so we can just use the simplified version. So now we will open GitHub and upload this to GitHub. So go to github.com. If you don't have an account, you will need to sign up. If you have an account, you can just simply go to one of these repositories you have or create a new repository by clicking this plus sign. I will just go to one of the repositories I was working on, and it's time enabled map, and I will just add the file here, this simplified.geojson file, drag and drop, and I will say US states population GeoJSON added. After it uploads the file, if we just click on this, it is already rendered as a web map, but the data we need to show, which is population, is not shown here. So we will need to write some HTML and JavaScript for doing that. So we already have this simple webmap.html file. I will just open it and I will go through line by line. Here we have these three lines which are used for getting the scripts for running leaflet map. This will always be common for any leaflet map you make. And here are some custom styling so that our map is styled in some way, but this is not necessary. This is just to make the map look somewhat better. And here we have different HTML elements for which these are the styles. So first element we have is this time slider, which is this one. And then we have this play pause button, which is this button. Then we have title container, which is this text. And we have this simple webmap.js, which draws a map to this div with id equals map, which is this box. And then finally we have this footer content, which is basically information about my GitHub and a LinkedIn. So just this. Now if we open this simple webmap.js file, this first line right here is called immediately invoked function expression, or IIFE, and this is useful when we have multiple JavaScript files for the same project and we don't want these variables from one file to collide with the other. It is always a good practice to use this, and you have to close this like that. And all the code we write goes inside these braces. First, we are creating a map object where the center is set at this degree latitude, north latitude, and this degree is longitude, western longitude, and the zoom level is 4. And we are adding tiles from OSM at maximum zoom level of 18, minimum zoom level of 1, and adding that to web map. And we are defining a color scale so that we will apply color to our polygons. And this is from blue to red, and it is based on the and the minimum value here and maximum value here are obtained from the minimum population and maximum population we have in our data. And the URL here is this raw. You just have to change that, and I will show you how to change that. So if you just click on this raw here, it will give you the web address from which you can get this GeoJSON file. So we will need some DOM elements which we have to change. So the slider, because its value will be changing, and the play and pause button because we can toggle with that button, and the map title because it has to change whenever the data changes. So we are just setting these DOM elements to some variables here. And now we are declaring a variable called GeoJSON data. And this function right here, it will fetch, it will try to load the data from the URL. If it gets the OK response, it will parse that data and then store the result at GeoJSON data, this variable. But if it cannot do that, it will throw some error. And we are also creating a variable called map layer here. And this map layer variable is used to keep track of all the layers we are adding to our map we declared up here. And we will also need to clear the maps whenever we are changing the data. And this is the main function to draw the map here, where we are getting the year as the slider input value. So this from 1950 to 2021, this value is the slider input value here. And we are also assigning the slider input value to that value. And this line right here is adding y in front of this number because our data has columns that are named like this: y 1950, y 1951, and so on. Here, this is the style function. So this function will apply some color, opacity, outline color, and weight to all of our polygons. And you can see this is using this color scale function we define here. So it, for each feature, it will use the property from the selected year text. So that text has population value, and it will convert that to log scale, and apply the color. Okay. And if we already have some map layers applied to our map, we just want to clear those layers. So this is what this line is doing. And here, for all of our polygon, here we are adding those polygons from our GeoJSON data to the map. This is the main code for adding the polygons to the map. So for each polygon on this data, what we are doing is we are adding the polygon, we are adding the pop-up, we are adding the labels, which are tooltip, and notice these are made permanent so that they will always stay there. And we also added a custom class to the label so that we'll be able to customize them. And we are applying the style to the polygons. So this style right here is to make the polygons colored by their population for the particular year. And we are adding all of them to this map right here. Now, after we have created a new map, we have to change the title, and the way we do that is the DOM element map title. It has text content, and we want to change it. We want to assign that to year plus selected year. Okay, and that gives us year 1997, 2000, like that. Now we have a play and pause button. So when we are in play mode, we want the year, selected year value to change every once in a while. So for that, we need to get the slider input value, and we have to add an event listener to that. Whenever the value changes, we have to draw a new map. We have to call this callback function. And to change our map after some time passes, we need a timer, and we are setting that timer here. And we are setting that timer with set interval. This is incrementing the value of time by 1 every 400 milliseconds. And it is doing that only if the selected year is less than 2022. If that year is more than 2022, it will reset to 1950 and it will clear the timer. And here we are writing a callback function for play pause button, and it basically says if the text content is play, it will change that to pause. And if that is pause, whenever we click on that, it will change that to play. And when we are in play mode, it will do this time interval function. Okay, so that is the callback we just defined, and we are adding that callback to this play pause button, and it is an on-click event listener. So every time we click that button, this function will be called. If that is pause, it will change that to play. If that is play, it will change that to pause. And when we are in play mode, it checks if the value for the selected year is less than 2022. If yes, it will increase that value by 1, draw a new map. But if it is more than 2022, it will reset the value to 1950, not draw a map, and that's it. And finally, we are calling this toggle play pause back function. And if we just save this and save this as well and go here, we can see our map is ready now. Now that our map is ready, we can go to GitHub and upload it to GitHub repo. So let's go back to our working repository, and we will need to add those two files as well. Okay, so now we have these files. We want we want this page to be accessible to anyone with internet. So how do I do that? So just go to setting here and then go to pages, and it will say deploy from a branch. Click on that, main branch, yes, and it says our data is available on this site. This is our landing page. Our web map is called simple web map. It shows the dynamic map which we created. Now it is available on this link. So if I copy this link and paste it on incognito as well, we we can play around with this. So I hope you have fun with this, and if you want to show us the map you created, please let us know in the comment section, and we will like your comment on this. Thank you.